Okay, folks, happy Memorial Day. Many prayers to our fallen heroes and their families. Now, what we're going to do today, we're going to go over the activity thus far today in the currency markets, the stock market, meaning the futures market. Obviously, the markets are closed with the exception of the futures markets, which are open. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the stocks that we're looking to put on as trades this coming week. We'll talk a bit about the profits that we took last week on a few positions. We had an outstanding week last week. And then we're going to talk with members about the strategy that we'll employ for the week ahead. We'll begin with a conversation with regard to the health of the overall markets and sectors. Then we'll talk about our positions, and then we'll do a deep dive into the watch stocks that we're really interested in. So let's get to it. Let's begin with a look at the US dollar. Ever since mid-April, we have been on a tear. Guess what? New weekly high today on the US dollar. These are all 4-hour charts. Let's drill down further. Here you can see that in the past 4-hour bar here, we have taken out last week's highs on an intra-week basis. We have not closed there yet. So the dollar starting off the week strong. When we talk about the dollar, we automatically think about commodities. Gold is holding up fairly well. Normally, you would expect to see gold under a lot of pressure with the dollar rallying, and it is under some pressure, but you could see that we are bouncing back. And what we have going on here is a very early stage rally in gold. Last week, you remember, we broke down below the 1300 level. I warned members, gold must finish the week, meaning last week, back above 1300, and we were able to do so. Now, we have a series of higher lows. We had a bull flag set up. We broke out of it. We pulled back. We retested. I think we're moving higher here despite the stronger U.S. dollar. So we're looking for a breakout and a close above this upper band of resistance. So members, we're going to talk more about the dollar, gold, and other names on the daily and weekly charts to get that higher level view of how long that this rally can last in these names. Oil, I mentioned on Friday that oil was under pressure. We had put in a lower high and that we were pressuring support. And I warned, watch for a breakdown. And we got the breakdown. I'll link to Friday's stock charts today. You can fast forward, take a look at my commentary with regard to crude oil. Would I buy oil here? No, we're basing, we may get a pop higher. I wouldn't want to base my longer term trade buy-sell decisions on simply a 4-hour chart. I would want to take a look at the daily and weekly charts to see how they're looking. I'll go over those charts with members on the week ahead commentary later on in this video for members anyway. Let's take a look at the futures market for the S&P 500. We're up on the session, but we are weakening here a bit. We broke out above a resistance level. We have been unable to hold it, this 4-hour bar, and we are now leaning yet again into this lower band of support. Now, what's concerning here is that RSI is putting in lower highs and lower lows. This trend cannot last. We must break out, or else you're going to see the S&P futures break. So keep an eye on the futures market. While we're up this morning at the time of this recording, we are off the highs of the session, and we are leaning into support with RSI weakening. Caution flag on the track. The NASDAQ futures behaving a bit better. They're holding support. They are leaning back down into this breakout point here. Now we're consolidating. So the jury's out with regard to the direction of the NASDAQ. In all probability, it'll follow its overall trend, which has been up. But again, what we want to do is pull back, take a look at the daily and weekly charts with members later on today. Let's leave off with a look at natural gas, which has been on a tear of late. And we are pulling back right now slightly. And what we're looking for, and we've already filled the gap, which opened up here on the 25th. Now we're basing within a pennant formation. So I wouldn't be a buyer of nat gas until we got a breakout above this upper band of resistance and ideally a new weekly high. We don't have that yet, but nat gas still looks interesting. Now let's take a look at a couple of trades that we booked profits on last week. Now last week we closed out 3 trades. The first one up was Baozun, BZUN. This is a daily chart. We bought the shares of BZUN on the 23rd, so right here at $55.95, and the shares just took off, rallying to a high of $59.80 on May the 25th, where we booked our profits. And we're glad that we did, because you could see that we flashed a bearish key reversal on the day. So we'll be looking for a pullback on Baozun, and that'll provide us with an entry point to get back in on the trade. Down volume on Friday was very light. So if we continue to see a pullback on light down volume, we will be back again long of BZUN. Another position that we closed out last week was the TNA. This is the Direxion Small Cap Bull ETF. We opened up this trade right here on the 8th, and we had a very nice rally. We booked half profits on the 18th right here, and we closed out the trade right here. We sold strength the morning of the 22nd, and thank goodness that we did, because only seconds after our advanced order was executed, the shares of the TNA just sold off, and sold off hard. So I normally don't execute trades early in the day, and if I do, they are sell orders which I've placed out there. Just simply set your price target and get out. Sell into strength when the charts are warning you that there are signs of trouble on the horizon. Make those profits real. So another very nice trade here on the TNA. Another position that we closed out last week was Aliiance Berstein, AB the symbol. We closed it out on the 22nd. We opened the position on the 16th. So we bought here on the breakout of this ascending wedge formation. Not my favorite, but we did rally, and we sold right here as we saw topping tails on the 21st and on the 22nd. That's a sign of sellers above. So we booked our profits, made those profits real. Now we are looking to open up new trades as we begin this abbreviated trading week. Let's kick things off with a look at Costco. We've been watching this one for a while. We did break out last week, and we held the breakout. Despite the fact that it was a down week, we held the breakout. I think that we will be buyers of Costco early this week. Our Stokes are looking good. They're above 80, but that's all good. We are not intimidated by the fact that Stokes are above 80. RSI still rising, higher lows, higher highs. Volume last week to the downside was very light. So while it was a down week, it was still a bullish week because we held the breakout point. We held support. So we will be buyers of strength. The next chart up, weekly chart that we're looking to put on this week, Alibaba, BABA, the symbol. Now, we had an up week last week, 2.15%. We were down on the week, but we did rally back. So that's a very bullish event. Volume, though, very light. Ultimate oscillator, hooking up higher. Note the double bottom setup and a breakout on Ultimate Oscillator. Next chart up, Marvel Technologies weekly chart. The prior week we had a hollow-filled candlestick, an indecision week, a fairly bearish week, despite the fact that we closed up on the week. The fact that we could not close at or near the highs of the week of the 14th was concerning. But last week, we bounced back. Bullish reversal week. So what we want to do here is draw our line in the sand. It's like an I dare you line. I dare you to cross this line because I just may buy you. So here you have it. Resistance, right? We couldn't close above it. We closed right at it. What we're looking for is a breakout above this resistance level. We would be buyers of the shares. Not a big buyer. We would scratch the itch. We would open up a small position. Then we would buy aggressively on a new high above 25.11, which would obviously take you above this resistance level. We want to buy strength. Volume last week, outstanding. So Marvel, looking strong. GOOS, Canada Goose Holdings. The weekly chart is not looking good, but with members, I'm going to go over the daily chart and what I'm seeing there. I still like the setup here. Last week's price action was not good. So we may get another week or so of consolidation, but I think the longer-term story here is a bullish one, and I'll go over the daily charts with members in a few moments on the week ahead commentary. Kansas City Southern weekly chart. We've been talking about this one. An up week last week. We did not close at the highs of the week. We did not get the breakout that we had been looking for. Stokes are looking rock solid. RSI looking rock solid. Both hooking up higher. Volume last week a bit light, so warning flag on the track. MACD, look at this. Beautiful stuff. I think we're breaking out fairly soon. Transports are breaking out. I'm going to talk more about the transport stocks with members on the week ahead commentary in a few moments. DPST, the Direxion Regional Bank ETF. We closed off the highs of the week last week. Yields pulled back, therefore, the regional banks did not do as well as we had hoped. So what we're looking for is a good entry point on both a weekly and daily basis. I think we're close, but we need a definitive answer of as to which way yields are heading. So members, we're going to talk more about DPST on the week ahead commentary, going over the daily and perhaps an intraday chart. Now let's segue into the week ahead commentary. First, we're going to go over the health of the overall markets. Then we'll break down by sector, and then we'll talk more about our current positions and our strategy with regard to the focus stocks that I've just gone over on a daily and perhaps intraday basis. Everybody have a great remainder of this holiday weekend. If you're not currently a member, please sign up for the 14-day free trial offer. Follow me on YouTube, StockTwits, Twitter, Facebook. We're all over the place. Members, let's get into the week ahead commentary, and we'll do a deep dive on the charts I just went over, plus let's discuss the health of the overall markets. Okay, members, let's begin with a look at the yield curve. Now, the yield curve has forecasted the past 6 recessions, and while we managed to rally back to attempt to take out the prior highs of April, we have failed to do so. We're not going to close above that level absent an act of God. And we are now probing the lows of the month. The high of the month was 0.54. The low was 0.43. We closed out last week down at 0.45. Why does that matter?